Hi, in this second video we're going to be looking at the additional components needed to complete our tricopter build. In video 1 we looked at the main parts that come with the frame kit, and so now here in video 2 we're going to look at the additional parts once again you need to complete the build. So we're going to be using some Sunny Sky motors. These are 2212 1400 kV motors, and we'll need 3 of those. Then we're going to be using some Afro 30 amp ESCs, and 3 of those. We're going to be using a Naze Acro flight controller board, 1 of those. For securing all of our screws, we'll be using Vibratite VC3. If you're not familiar with this, check out my videos on YouTube concerning the Vibratite. That's a great product. Then we'll be using some Velcro, some double-sided foam tape, some other various bits and pieces of foam, some zip ties, some wire. Of course, we've got some 16 gauge and 18 gauge wire. We'll be using some wire mesh. We've got some 6mm here and some 16mm. We'll be using some heat shrink tape, a little bit of black duct tape. We'll be using an FR Sky receiver. This is a D4R2 receiver, and of course you should have a radio, some batteries, a soldering iron, and some solder. This is a male XT60 connector. We'll need 1 of those. We'll need 1 of these servo wires here, and also an extension, a servo extension. And let's see, I happen to have 1 of these canopies around from a old 450 toy helicopter, and I'm going to retrofit this here onto our frame when we're done. And last but not least, we're going to need some voltage regulators. We'll need 1 for the Naze board here, and then we should have 1 for the servo that goes in the tail of the tricopter. Now, I showed in video 1 that the tricopter kit comes with a plain Jane power distribution board. We're going to upgrade our power distribution board. We're going to use this board here from Hobby King. It has 2 BECs on board. We'll only be using 1 of them in this instance, and that is the adjustable one. We'll set it at 5 volts for the flight controller. This other one here is preset at 12 volts, and that would be acceptable to use if you were going to say put a camera and a video transmitter on board. You could use this BEC here. We won't have a need for this on this build, so we just simply won't use that portion of it. We will be using, however, another regulator from Pololu.com. We'll be using a 6-volt regulator for the servo. The servo will operate fine on 5 volts, but we'll get quicker action out of it with 6 volts, and that's just what I'm going to do for this particular build. So we'll be using these 2 regulators and substituting out this power distribution board for the one that came with the unit. Okay, I believe that that pretty much covers all of the additional components that we'll be using to do this tricopter build. So in the next video, we will get started on the build itself.